Hey, what's up guys? So Bleeding Edge just got announced. It's a new game by Ninja Theory, and I kind of want to just talk about the game as well as kind of go over all of the hero abilities because they actually also released that. Now, since this is my first time covering this game on my channel, I did want to also kind of check out the trailer with you guys. But on top of that, if you're looking for a very specific timestamp on a character's ability, like you want to know what the heck the Nidhoggr does, go ahead and just check out the description box of this video. I'll go ahead and also add it in a pinned comment, all the timestamps if you're looking for a very specific character's abilities. And anyways, let's go ahead and check out the trailer, and then we're going to go ahead and go in depth on every single character. Because again, this is my first time covering this. And if you guys do want to watch the trailer, I'll also have that pinned down below. But let's go ahead and hop right into it. Alright, so that's it for the trailer. I thought it was pretty cool. It looks like via the comments it's kind of mixed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I really wanted to go ahead and go over all of the character abilities. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's just go from the top over here. This is Buttercup over here, so she would be similar to... I don't really want to compare this game to Overwatch, but I will use some examples so visually you can maybe get kind of an idea on how some of these characters play. So what's interesting with this game, unlike Overwatch, is you actually happen to have multiple ultimates. They're called supers in here, but you can actually choose which one you want to actually use. I'm not sure if you have to select it at the very beginning of the round or if this is something that you actually have to be able to like unlock or something. Again, we don't know a lot of information about this game, but that's the point of me making this video, so we can go ahead and understand more about the game. So you have your basic abilities, then you have your specials, and then you have your supers. I'm assuming specials are more like your abilities that have like a cooldown, whereas basic abilities are just things that you inherently will have with, like, let's say your left click or your right trigger. But anyways, this is Buttercup. So anyways, you have saw blades that deal damage, and then you also have a launcher that lets you spin up the back wheel, then launch forward, collecting enemies with a shoulder barge. And then you have Burl, which allows you to move faster and regenerate health. And one thing that's important is there's a lot of abilities in this game that cost stamina. So you will have a stamina bar in this game for some characters, but perhaps all of them. It's just some abilities will say that it does cost stamina. You might also technically have a sprint built in, because it did kind of look like that from the trailer. But again, this is information that is unknown. But the first ability that Buttercup has is Yank. We actually did technically see this in the trailer as well, where we had someone get pulled in. It's this ability right here. You guys can see Buttercup just yanks them. It's very short. Again, the whole trailer was only a minute long, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly everything. But you do have a yank, and then you have an oil slick, so you get to drop a puddle of oil that slows enemies. Then you have whiplash that unleashes a flurry of whipping blades that damages all nearby enemies. And then for her super, she actually has two different supers. You have burnout, which is able to deal damage and knocks them away. And you also have turbocharge, which temporarily increases damage, lifesteal, and maximum health. So that is Buttercup. There's also technically a backstory on her. I'm not going to go over the backstories, at least not right now in this video. I basically just want to talk more about like the abilities in this game, because the characters, they just look so different. Then I'll briefly talk about, I know there's some like little bit of controversy and stuff like this with this game, but I will briefly cover that. But that's Buttercup. Next up, we have Daemon over here, aka Genji 2.0 Kappa. But anyways, his basic abilities is Graffiti Blade over here. You get to slice through your enemies. And then evade, so you can dodge out of harm's way, but it does cost stamina. You have wall jump, so you can boost off of walls for extra height, and that also costs stamina. You have your specials, which is to surge forward quickly and end with a powerful spinning slash. You have stealth slash sleep. It says temporary enter stealth, while stealth, sleep an enemy. This could be very difficult to balance. I mean, could you imagine someone that can cloak and then just put you to sleep? Like, that's insane. And then you have shuriken to slow enemies and also drain their health. And then for your supers, you have death mark, which grants extra damage against the marked target, and then killing them will refresh the super for a short time. And then we have Shadow Strike, which rapidly strikes enemies in range for a percentage of their max life and damage. So that is Daemon. And then next up over here, we have El Bastardo, which is hilarious. So his basic ability, he has machetes, and then he can also evade. A lot of characters will have this ability called evade, and which just costs stamina. And then you have life support as his passive, which provides protective shields powered by a basic attacks and the empowered special. And then for his specials, you have Leap of Faith, so you get to leap onto a locked enemy and you get to stun them upon impact. This is this ability right here. Right after we see Buttercup, you can see he just stuns the enemy, and it looks there is like a knock on ground. So potentially this can lead up to other follow-ups, other combos, specifically just even his next ability, which becomes a sword tornado. You knock them on the ground and they're stunned, you start spinning around. And then he also has Empower, which lets him steal life from nearby enemies, granting energy to life support shields. And then for his supers, he has Unbreakable, which makes it so he cannot be killed for a short time, and also dealing damage extends the duration, which could be insane. And then you have Overload, which your life support overloads, dealing constant damage to nearby enemies. So that is the El Bastardo. And then next up we happen to have Gizmo, which is our builder of the game. So she also has the dodge, but her basic ability. Now, it's interesting that she has a bolt gun that increases fire rate over time. They really seemed like they really wanted to emphasize on this whole melee. They made like a clear, distinct, bold the text that this is like melee. And then from the creators of all these other games that are, I would say, pretty emphasized on like melee combat. But they didn't really talk too much or even showcase off the ranged abilities. Maybe these are still in work. But anyway, she does happen to have a gun. So this is not just a melee game. There is ranged abilities in this game as well as just basic attacks. So for her special, she has a bomb that sucks enemies in. She has a turret, and she has a bouncer pad. And then for her ultimate, she has Rocket, which lets her ride a giant missile and detonate. And then you have a mini mech, which we also did see in the trailer over here. Towards the, I want to say it was like towards the end when we saw the character. Well, that's her right there. This is one of her, I guess if we want to call it her ultimate ability. There's her mech that we saw, and that's pretty cool. You also get a flamethrower, but that is Gizmo. And then next up, we have the snake guy, Kulev. Now, what's interesting with this character, and I thought this was one of the more unique characters, I wish they showed him off a little bit more. But it's actually the snake right here, the like zombie, skeleton, whatever you want to call it. It was just kind of a vessel here. But anyways, you have Acid Spit, so this would probably be a ranged ability, or basic ability as well. You also have Dodge, and then as a passive over here, you can continuously heal nearby allies. And then for the specials, we have Sacred Ground, lets you summon a ward that damages enemies and heals allies in an area. Then you have Good Omen, which gets a shield on an ally, and then you can double cast it to put it on yourself. So I'm not going to compare this game to Overwatch. I know a lot of people are saying this character is this, but just for visual representation and maybe just to give you guys some idea, if you want to think of it maybe kind of like a Zarya barrier, maybe something like that would be a good example. Then we also have Curse, so the target takes increased damage from all sources. Zenyatta's Discord Orb would be, again, maybe something kind of close to that. And then we happen to have for our ultimates, aka the supers, Boon, so you get to empower an ally. Makes it so they have bonus damage, speed, and defense. Again, Nano Boost would be kind of a good maybe example. I know Nano Boost doesn't give you the speed anymore, but it used to. And then we also have Bamboozle. You can mind control an enemy, bending them to your will. This looks like it's going to be a very difficult game to balance, that's for sure. But that is Kulev. I like that idea a lot. It's a very unique one. I like how you also see the stars in The eyes. Good stuff indeed. Alright, next up we have Maeve over here. We did see her actually utilize the trap ability, which we'll get into in a second. The basic ability is Zap, so you get to zap bolts that are electrified from your fingertips. So I want to say this should be range. You have Evade, and then you also have a passive that when you kill an enemy, it instantly resets all special cooldowns, which is insane, because one of the abilities is to trap an enemy, which we did see in the trailer over here. Let me go ahead and go right into it. This could be insane. I'm assuming you're going to need to actually like time certain things correct over here, but it's like towards the end. Let's just go ahead and play it. Let me find it exactly. I was gonna like actually timestamp all of these, but the cage seems like it's going to be insane, especially since you have other abilities that are going to be insane with it, which we'll get into in a second. Alright, where was it? Okay, there it is. So that's the cage ability that you just saw, where you can see Buttercup coming in, and they're just locked down in that cage, and then you can see. I think this is the channeled ability that she also has. So she can trap an enemy, then she can vanish and become invulnerable. So maybe something similar to a Moira ability. And then you also have Siphon Life. Again, I don't mean to compare it to Overwatch, but it's probably a game that I think could give us visual like representation that would make more sense over here. That it will steal life, which is exactly what Moira does. And then for her supers, aka ultimates, you happen to have Peekaboo, so you can insert a cauldron, teleport to any visible enemy, and you can just stun them. So you get to go invisible, stun them, and then trap them in a cage, and then start taking their life away. And then remember, if you kill an enemy, you get to reset all of your special abilities. And then her Toil and Trouble, you get to summon a ball of energy that explodes to do what they say is spectacular damage. I'm guessing that does a decent amount of damage. And then next up over here, we have Makutu. I know people read it are just like, dude, this is a just Lucio. Okay, so he's supposed to be like up close because he has a fist fight. And then he has Slap and Good, so each combo input can be held for extended slaps and special punches. So he has a toggle stance, and so in one stance you get to increase movement speed, and in another stance you get to constantly regenerate health. And then he also has an ability to push enemies away. I understand, but I'm just going to use it as an example. And I have no problem if games use abilities that are similar to other games. It's just that people like to group certain things, and I understand. Like, that's very similar to Lucio. But anyways, he has, as his specials, he can barge into enemies dealing damage and carry them away. He also has the ability to cleanse himself and nearby allies. I'm guessing that removes perhaps debuffs. And then he has another ability to heal himself and nearby allies, depending on which stance that you're in. And then for a super, you can make it so yourself and nearby allies are temporarily invulnerable, or you can roll into a ball and barrel through enemies, knocking them away. And that is Makutu. And then next up, though, we've got... oh, no, wait, hold on. Not yet. That guy's my favorite, though, by far. Next up, we have Miko over here. So we did see some of her abilities. So she has a staff, and it's just like flowing staff combos. And then we have also Evade. Then as her passive, we get to have it so our staff impacts heal a nearby ally with the lowest health. And then for our specials, we have Chain Heal, and we have a Kinetic Shield. I want to say that was the green shield that we saw in the trailer over here. Let's go ahead and just play it real quick. So here's one of her abilities. So she can freeze an enemy, which is the stasis. So it freezes the target in place, and you can see a fellow teammate was able to follow up. So there's going to be a lot of combos going on. And I feel like, again, this game is going to be super difficult to balance just because of all of the CC. I mean, there's stuns, there's freezes, you can pull people. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And I'm so excited that the game is coming out like relatively soon for the beta. And here's the shield. I think we see her in the background. It's either that or Gizmo. His turret, I think, is right here. But we can see that kinetic shield that blocks enemies' projectiles and beams. And then for her supers, we have Stalker, which stealths all of the allies and reveals to all enemies stealth allies are also healed over time. And then we have Life Force, which channels a powerful heal on an and ally. I think I'd rather heal everyone and grant stealth, but maybe this heal is very valuable on a tank or something if they're very low. But that is Miko. And then next up, my favorite character, and I'm sure a lot of people's other favorite character, is Nidhoggr. This guy looks so cool. But anyways, his basic ability, Axe, so he gets to hack and slash enemies with his guitar. He has Shredder, which makes so he charges and releases static energy that bounces between enemies. He also happens to have Evade. And then his feedback, Axe attack against burning enemies grant lifesteal. So he has Power Slide, which I'm guessing it's this ability that they showed. It's just for like a very small frame where he's like sliding on the ground. This one, he just looks so cool. Out of all the characters, he definitely stands out the most to me. Okay, so he's right here, and this might be the Power Slide. You can see it's leaving a trail of fire, and I'm guessing that's the fire if they happen to walk over. Maybe you can clip through enemies during this animation, and then you'll be able to have lifesteal. And then he has his Fire Breath, which they definitely also showed off, which is really cool. What is his fire breathing move? Oh, there it is. That's so cool. Like, look at that. It just comes out of his neck. Like, that's awesome. And then you have Boomatar, which throws your guitar and it slows enemies, but if it hits them on the way back, they're stunned instead. I don't know if you can actually activate both of the effects, but that's going to be very strong. So, like, go through them, and then you can stun them, maybe easily line up that cone of fire, and then just start getting that lifesteal. But his super is insane. Death Growl makes it so it silences all nearby enemies with a deafening roar. I'm assuming silence in this game makes it so they can't use abilities. So if you want to think of it maybe like a Sombra ability where she's popping her ultimate. And then Ride the Lightning stuns all surrounding enemies with an epic guitar solo. So that'd be cool. You go in, you power slide, and then you go ahead and line them up with one of the supers. Could be really good indeed. I think, yeah, like I said, he's definitely the coolest character in my book. And then we have ZeroCool. They didn't really show off this guy too much. I mean, they showed him off like basically like in the intro where they had them like walking to fight each other. You can see him over there, but they didn't really show him off too much in the gameplay. There's a really cool, unique mechanic with him, and I want to get into that. So he's also a ranged character. He has an arcade gun, and then he also has Evade. He has an upward boost, and I want to say it's kind of like a mech, not necessarily like a suit, but like a hovercraft. And then you also have Defrag as a passive, so you get to life rapidly regenerates while not in combat. So this is a really interesting ability. So he has a firewall that drops an impassable wall, but it doesn't actually block attacks or projectiles. So you can lock down certain areas and just start spamming them, which could actually be quite interesting since they can't pass through the area. And then you have Recharge, which a continuous healing beam whose power diminishes while active and recharges while inactive. And then you have Bot, which deploys on an ally to follow and auto-fires and can see through stealth. And then for the ultimates on ZeroCool, you have 1-Up. So for a short time, the target ally will immediately return it to the life if killed. Then you have Upgrade Protection. You get to temporarily increase the armor of all nearby allies. And that is it for the characters in this game. Now there's 2 additional characters. I don't know anything about them. But maybe when the beta comes out, they will have their names and maybe they'll showcase off their abilities. I'll be keeping my eye out for this game because I'm a huge Ninja Theory fan. And I kind of want to now talk a little bit more about the game and a little bit of its kind of controversy. So first off, as far as it goes via their Twitter, they're getting, I would say, a lot of people kind of upset about the game because the last game that they made, Hellblade, and in fact, even the games that they were advertising when they say from the makers of Devil May Cry, Heavenly Sword, like they say all these other games, right? And this game is going to be so much different because it's not a single-player experience. And because Microsoft bought them, a lot of people are like, you know, Microsoft made them work on this multiplayer game while maybe they wanted to focus on single-player games. Apparently this game has been in development for a while, so I'm not sure if this is necessarily like a good argument. However, I can understand that people are upset because this is something that is kind of like just super surprising. I did not expect to see this out of Ninja Theory. I really legitimately thought they were going to make another single player driven game, and again, a lot of people are upset, and you can see some people are trying to back them up over here, but again, a lot of people are kind of complaining that I'm at this point hoping for a AAA game, not another generic PvP game. You know, honestly, like as far as my complaints go, because like I'm really excited about this game because I pretty much liked every single one of Ninja Theory's games, even like Enslaved Odyssey to the West, which I think was kind of like a sleeper game, but I'm interested to see where this game goes, and I don't want to like judge it preemptively too much without actually getting my hands on the game. And I've already signed up for the beta, and I'll leave a link down below if any of you guys want to sign up for the beta too, because again, this game looks really cool. I like some of the concepts, and I do still like the hero shooter genre, although this one's probably going to be more so like a third person, although maybe some characters will behave differently. I'm excited to see what this game has to offer. But as far as like the art design goes, I really wish there was at least like one attractive character. And I know like there's a lot of games that are just trying to appeal to like, you know, not every character needs to be hot. And I totally get that. That's my only complaint. I just want one hot character in the game. I mean, I'd be fine if all the other females were 10 out of 10, you know, perfect, dead or alive looking girls. I would have been perfectly fine with that. I mean, you could have, I think Gizmo could be like, you know, the different one here, right? But I know a lot of people are upset with the art style of like some of the choices that they've made, specifically with like Buttercup, right? But again, as long as the game is good, that's what really I care about. So we'll have to wait and see if the game is good. And if you guys want to see gameplay of Bleeding Edge, I'll be giving you guys gameplay as soon as I get my hands on the beta. It looks pretty cool though, and like I said, I'm really hoping this game will do well. I hope it's not going to be another Lawbreakers or another game that just kind of falls to the side, because again, there's so many people that are saying this is just Overwatch. If you just read on Reddit or anything, but just give the game a chance at least. I'm not sponsored at all, but I just have faith in Ninja Theory. But it's going to be a difficult game to balance, especially with like what they're showing off with all of the amount of like CC. I mean, you're gonna have people like run into you. You're gonna have people like that can teleport and put you to sleep. Like, this is going to be an insanely ambitious game to balance. Like, honestly, good luck with keeping everyone happy with a sleep while... I mean, could you imagine if Anna could stealth and just put someone to sleep, like go in a flank, and they could wall jump? Like, again, it's going to be difficult, but Ninja Theory, I hope it's good, man. But anyways, let me know, guys, what you are most excited to play, and if you guys are excited about this game, because this is my first time covering the game on my channel, but I'm the most excited to play Nidhoggr, because he looks different. I feel like he's edgy. I like it, man. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on the game and what character you guys are most excited to play. But anyways, like I said, gameplay will be coming out very soon. It's like 2.5 weeks, and we're going to be able to play this game. I was surprised that they just like announced it, and they're like, yeah, by the way, June 27th, gameplay. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the vid. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new here and want to see gameplay of it, I'll be covering this game very soon, because Ninja Theory is one of my favorite. But anyways, thanks for watching, and peace.